recording to the cloud. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Second day of the Powerhouse Smart Luxury Conference, and we're yet going to have another awesome presentation, this time with Christine Lutz and David Wolf from Wolf Development Strategies. And as I had mentioned in my opening remarks, and I know you've over the years, I'm a realtor from past life, and I value and recognize the importance of all of us in our community and development and building and design and landscape architecture, the importance of all of us to have strong relationships with the real estate community. So I met Christine, over the years when all of some of the other positions that she's had, and she's always been very connected to sales and development in high-end residential. So we're perfect pals. So now I'm going to turn it over to them, and they have a really interesting presentation of one of their newest projects that they were involved in from the very beginning, and they use a lot of virtual and video and virtual reality, and it's mesmerizing. As a matter of fact, our children are in the 31 to 25 year age, and that's your target audience. And all of what I saw was exactly what would, get them all excited, hot and bothered, let's say. So without further ado, I'm going to spotlight my friend Christine Lutz and David. Let me find you here, David Wolf. And there you go. You guys are front and center, and I'm going to zip it up and mute myself. Please take it away.
David, you want to go ahead first?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Wendy. This is a very, very cool event. We're excited to be a part of it. So my name is David Wolf, and I founded Wolf Development Strategies, and our brokerage arm is Wolf Residential a little over a year ago. So my background is really in large scale residential development. I was with the related companies for a few years, and then I was the founder of Coldwell Banker's National Developer Services Division, which I acquired to then rebrand as we know it today, Wolf Development Strategies. What we do is consulting, marketing, and sales for large scale residential for sale developments. We do some leasing, lease ups where it's part of a larger project, but our focus, our bread and butter is really in condo marketing and sales. And so we are in the room with developers well into the pre-development, usually, concept to close out. So in the pre-development phase, we're helping them make decisions on what a project should be, unit mix, design, floor plans, feasibility, pricing, all of those things, amenity makeup. And then we create and execute the marketing strategy, as well as our main role is employing and managing and handling sales with the fully dedicated sales teams. So, and Christine is my partner in the business, and we've been working on this together for quite some time. We have projects in many markets. Chicago is our home base. South Florida, we have a project in Sarasota, working on another in Miami coming soon. New Orleans, Park City coming soon, and some other markets there. So I'll turn it over to Christine, and she'll give you a little bit more of an overview.
Yeah, thanks, David. I've been doing sales and marketing for large scale projects for about 25 years, and I'm hitting the 60 plus developments that I've launched and sold all around the country. I've been in 14 different markets and had sales teams up to 100 in all different markets. And I'm really excited about the stuff that we're working on right now. It's been a challenge, and actually it's wonderful to have to continue to learn stuff along the way. And we are priding ourselves on making sure that we have the best sales presentation because we basically sell dirt and air. Our specialty is pre-sales. I've done some conversions in the past from rental to for sale. I don't suspect we're going to see that trend based on the product mix that is being offered in rental right now. But for sale, new construction is really our bread and butter. We seek out the best of the best in terms of tech and in terms of presentation. So our branding groups, our design groups, our developers that we partner with. One in particular we'll be talking about today. We partnered with Lend Lease. They are the development arm as well as the construction arm for a 41-story high-rise that we are launching in the middle of a pandemic. And so we just launched it officially 2 weeks ago. We had our contracts in hand less than 2 weeks ago. And we are going through the process of launching a high-rise. Typically, when we launch a high-rise, we would invite the entire brokerage community. There'd be about 200 plus people at a grand opening party that would cost about $50,000 or more. And it would be a thing. And unfortunately, we can't do that thing now. So one of the things before the pandemic that we knew we needed to invest in is that our target markets, as they get younger, are far less experienced in understanding buying new construction. There's been a major market gap in the last several years. You know, in the 2000s, the early 2000s to 2008. Everybody was doing it. It was culturally okay to give someone money for something they had never seen before. And we would wave our arms in the air and put floor plans up on a wall. And that was good enough. We had maybe a scale model or two. Maybe we had a couple of like color renderings or something like that. And we were just like, trust us, it'll be great. And of course, developers VE'd things and did things that we didn't love at the end, but that was a cultural thing where in that time, people felt comfortable giving earnest money and closing on property that they were buying something that was probably 2 years out. That has changed in this marketplace. And I know, David, you're kind of itching to say something here, so I'm going to let you like kind of chime in for a sec.
No, I was just, my chair is terrible. That's all I was doing. Okay. I was just adjusting myself. But no, this conference is a good example of the importance to be ready to pivot in whatever happens. And in our world, everything starts virtual anyway. So we were really well prepared for the situation and to create a virtual selling environment, as well as to give the information that buyers need for a very complicated decision or complicated purchase, something that takes people that do this for a living a lot of time and brain power to process, but people that are maybe bought by one or two places in their life, we really have to simplify it and make this decision very easy while still portraying all the elements of the property that we're working on. So everything that you're going to see is things that were planned pre-COVID. And we had been working with these developers for almost for all of half of 2019 and all of 2020 before we launched sales. And so a lot of the decisions as far as design went into things, you'll see things that you would think this is because of COVID. We made some adjustments, but really the trends for how we market things and also the trends for how we design things were already there. So I think, this is a really unique project because it's a large scale. It's a hybrid building. Half the building is rental. The top half is condo. You have shared amenities. You have private amenities. You have 216 condominiums. It's a pretty big building, 43 stories, and within a master plan development where there are other attributes or elements and natural amenities that service the building as well. So by really ramping up or amping up our virtual reality, the budget for it, as well as the design of what we are going to portray soon, we think, and so far it's helped, that we think it'll speed up the process of getting the buyers over the hump sooner. So I think Christine and Dorian, you guys are going to kick it off.
Hey, Wendy, is it possible that we could pin Dorian as well? Because I'd like to introduce Dorian V, who is with Immerza. We had actually worked with Dorian on another project much earlier on that was much smaller, so we didn't have the budget that we had for this one. And so we were so impressed and really enjoyed working with them. They have an amazing platform, and I'm going to let Dorian talk just briefly about what it is that they do.
Sure. Nice to meet everybody. I'm Dorian V, co-founder, CTO of Immerza. Immerza is a technology company, but we actually evolved out of in-house design tools from an architecture firm that we have based in Florida. And what happened was we started writing these tools really to better facilitate communication on the design side. But then our clients started selling multi-million-dollar residences out of our workroom, and it became really evident really quickly that we've got something that's working here. So we started building out a full platform of sales and marketing tools. And that's what launched Immerza as a company. This is actually our third project working together with Wolf Development, a smaller one in Chicago, one here where we're based, Sarasota, and of course the Reed, which we're about to dive in and show you both the project and all the really cool tech stuff that they're able to do, that their sales team can do.
Yeah.
So I'm going to share my screen.
The first thing that we're just about to see is actually all of this stuff, all of our sales tools are housed on Dorian's platform. So we have huge screens in our sales center. We still believe in 3D scale models and things like that, which we use. But you're going to see that we also invested in some branding elements as well, which included a 3-minute marketing video. So again, all of these decisions were made. It's got music. So there is a music, and you're going to see. So this is the one of the development team designers, and we invested in drone photography, which is pretty stunning. Everything all the decisions that we made in these videos is in order to give people an understanding of what this lifestyle is going to be like. We made sure that we could locate it correctly. It's in the heart of Printers Row, which is kind of at the nexus of the loop and the South Loop and the West Loop. And we had, we employed different residents that are currently living there in their rental development in order to talk about what the lifestyle is like in the development. Again, really high-end drone photography, good branding, making sure that there was a connection and a story to the development. You're seeing here the tower. All of these renderings, for the most part, are Dorian's, and all of the interiors, which we're going to show you in a minute. This is just going to breeze through, but you can see that we're highlighting views, we're highlighting interiors. We're talking about the amenity space, which is 27,000 square feet of amenities and pool deck area, which is pretty substantial. We made a conscious decision when we were programming this building and making suggestions. Is our target is all of the millennials that have postponed purchasing and that are in rental buildings. And one of the biggest challenges that we've had in this build cycle is trying to get these millennials out of these high-end A+ location or A+ buildings, because when they moved into a smaller building, they were actually giving up a lot in order to buy. And so this is one of the first developments that is offering the same level of amenity space that they're getting in their rental building, that they are able to afford in a luxury condominium. And part of the reason that is, I'm going to let David take it away.
Well, so when amenities cost money, right? They cost money to build, they take away space that's saleable or leasable, they cost money to operate, staff, all of those things. And so when you have a luxury A+ apartment building where you're factoring that into your pro forma and your operating expenses, that stuff going in based on what the gross income is going to be, and then your operating expenses, and then you have your NOI, and then your building has its value, right? Or you have your cash flow after that. In a condo building, those expenses get passed on to the owners, and the owners have an HOA, monthly assessment, whatever you call it in your market, and that HOA really impacts the total cost of ownership of the property. So you have your cost to own it, whatever your mortgage payment is, or if it's cash, plus your taxes, plus your HOAs. And so what happens in a lot of condo buildings is the assessment or the amenities have to be reduced, minimized, in order to get your building to a price point per month. Usually we talk about it in per square foot per month. And in normal buildings, you want to be below $1, but really kind of in the 60 to 70 cents range is ideal. So by having a hybrid building, by having the apartment building pay for the large percentage of the cost of those amenities, we were able to do two things: get the amenities to a level that is above any other condo building in Chicago, but also have some private amenities for the condo owners and keep the assessments at like 62, 63 cents per square foot per month. So it gives you, kind of the best of both worlds. Now, people will say, well, I have to share my amenities with people in an apartment building. Well, the reality is most large scale apartment buildings are 300-400 units. This is 220 units plus the 216 that we have as the condo. And you have your own shared amenities, and you have your space within your unit, and you have a 2-acre park and some of these outdoor amenities. So this area, this building, this neighborhood will never really feel overly crowded. So it's a really good value proposition for someone to be able to have what you want when you want it without paying $1, $1.20 per foot per month, which if you think about that, 1,000 square foot unit, you're paying 600 with us, where you might be paying 1,000 or 1,200 a month just in your HOA. Which, obviously that adds up. So it increases the buying power and the monthly cost of ownership perspective.
So Dorian is actually driving this right now, and you can see that there's really nothing you can't actually show a buyer. So if they wanted to know, and I'm going to say a couple things, and Dorian's going to start swooping into these different things. If they wanted to know what it feels like to drive into the porte-cochere and get dropped right off, he can put us in that space.
Yep.
And then he can actually put us right into the lobby, which is really helpful. And a lot of these decisions had to be made 6-8 months ago in order to be able to get this rendered out correctly. So there was a lot of pre-production that happened in order to make sure that we had the right tools in place in order to highlight what the actual offering is. So you're entering in here, you've got a doorman station. We programmed it very specifically that one side you enter to the right, and there's an entrance for the condominium building. You go to the left, and that's where the rental building starts. But again, they're two separate lobbies, two separate entrances. So people who are purchasing will feel special, and that they have a little bit more amenity space than someone who is renting in the building. Dorian's doing an auto fly through. You're going to see that there's an honor. The lobby itself was designed in the form of almost like a boutique hotel. And that was some of the design inspiration that happened. There's going to be a little bit of an honors bar there. There's different lounge spaces, tons of different lounge spaces, so that people can feel as if they've got their private little living room outside of their home. On the second level, we programmed a totally private owners only space, which includes, you can see this upper deck area that's overlooking the river space. It includes co-working space, which it just so happened that we knew that this could be a thing, and that co-working space was going to be important pre-pandemic. So it just so happens that we already programmed that in. Private lounge spaces that people can invite their friends over. There's some of the co-working niches that you can have private space closed off. Demonstration kitchens that were designed that are private just for residents, that they can, purchasers, that they can reserve these spaces. Outdoor space that's overlooking the 2-acre park, billiards room, lots of lounging spaces for people. And this is pretty incredible. You can't believe this is in Chicago, but it's actually right on the Chicago River. We've got our own bar and terrace area that's overlooking the river, and that's just for owners.
So somebody asked the question, what technology platform? This is actually Emerza's proprietary software that they created.
Correct. Yeah, and I'll dive into just some real high level technology features that the that the sales team is actually able to use. So when we do a project, we build the entire project, exterior, all the city around it as an interactive model. So the sales team can literally navigate around the full exterior of the building. They can show relationships, significant adjacencies, things like that. They can highlight any features of the project. But we're also hooked into the inventory database so that we can do things like show me what's available for 3 bedrooms. And that will highlight everything that's available. And then we can drill down onto a specific residence. Say, for example, we want to talk about 3908 here. We can, of course, still rotate it around, show where that is in relation to the tower. We can access, the traditional collateral like 2D floor plans and view photography. But more effective is just jumping right into this residence. So what the system does is it automatically finds the right view for this unit, for the view photography, puts us in it, and now we can totally walk through this unit if we wanted to. We can literally go anywhere we want, answer any questions a buyer might have, which is often the thing that removing the fear of the unknown is really that final step in somebody making a decision to purchase.
And this is, I think Dorian just said it, the fear of the unknown. So, where there's doubt, people don't buy. And
right.
So when you in an urban environment, you obviously have other buildings that can block your view, or buildings that can come up eventually to block your view. Or you have salespeople that'll be like, yeah, you'll get lake views on the 2nd floor, but the reality is you don't get them till like the 30th floor. These are actual views with real heights matched up by elevation of the earth and the building. And you can change time of day. You can change, you can walk up to the window and look out, and you can say like, look, the building to our east looks like it's blocking you, but our building is offset by 50 feet. So the tier that you're interested in is actually not blocked by this building. And this is real. This isn't, this is accurate measurements and all of that. So it's very important to help paint that picture and create and eliminate uncertainty.
We also put in all the finish options and upgrades that are available to buyers so that they can do things like, show me this with the, dark finish package, or they can then, switch each of these out individually. And a couple really powerful things that they can do is right from the Immersa software, they can take as many high-res renderings as they want, which has kind of had a profound effect on how they market properties, because they can do things like, say they're having a presentation to a buyer whose significant other couldn't make the meeting for whatever reason. And they said, you know what, I really want to send my spouse a shot from our kitchen. They can literally walk over here, hit the take render button. That just took a high-res rendering and uploaded it to the cloud. And if I come in and log in as the read, I'm already logged in as them. Let me hit refresh here. There's that rendering I just took. I can download that, copy the link, send it along to the buyer. But where it gets really interesting is now that there's this source of unlimited content, the sales team can do things like a quick Instagram post, like, hey, check out this awesome view from 3908. This unit's not going to last. And it keeps the marketing fresh and never stale.
Can you swing back around and show a couple of different swipes of different finishes?
Sure, absolutely.
You just showed one, but this is really important. You can mix and match. So in this particular development, we're doing packages, but but Dorian can do as many packages. I think we have a white option too.
Yeah, there's a vellum white option, but say you want the vellum white option, but you like dark countertops with it, or you want to do wood lowers.
It's been really surprising to me that the 30 to 40-year-olds especially single guys in particular, this gives them so much anxiety in making this purchase that they're afraid to make a mistake. They're afraid to do something stupid. And this is a little bit like the selection police. And it allows
Removing the fear of the unknown. Exactly.
it allows them to not make a mistake, and that they can see this in the kitchens, they can see it in the bathrooms. So this has been incredibly helpful for us.
And we
what's
can
interesting-
also, oh, sorry. I was going
Well,
to say, we can also play a sexy video of it if we hit the play button, and it's just kept all those finishes that I just picked out.
So the way that doing this technology, doing what we're seeing here has to be done, as Christine said, 6 to 8 months in advance, where we have a lot of decisions that have to be made at that point. So it does a couple things from a sales perspective. It stops the developer from being able to VE any more than we'd like them to, because now they're locked in with pictures of what stuff is going to be in specs. But it also helps us find problems or mistakes in the design or in the selection. And so, hey, this isn't, this feels wrong, or we pick these cabinets, but it looks terrible, or nobody's looking at them, nobody likes them when we're seeing them on the rendering. So they know if we're starting to finish units out, or if we're going to be adding other packages, maybe we need to adjust a package. So, we are in the process of adjusting one of our packages, a slight tweak, because of some of the feedback from people. So there's a lot of things that it helps on the development side and the construction side as well.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the big things that Wolf does is they come in those earlier phases and help the team make selections, and even on the furniture, and like what chairs are in the dining room and what's going to bring that extra level of sophistication. And when, in the ideal world, like on this project, we're brought in also early, and we can make those changes in real time and see what it looks like. And everyone can get on the same page, see the same thing, and be confident moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, this is a perfect example of how you'd like to be able to execute it. It isn't always perfect, but that's part of what we do. Is we start from the very beginning when they're contemplating a high rise. How many units can the market absorb? What are the size of the homes? What can we charge, and what do we have to put in them in order to be able to charge to make our pro forma work? So we worked with them for about a year before this launch, in putting together and helping design and helping to spec out. I certainly don't want to give anyone the impression that we are designers. We're not. But the people who love working with us are contractors. They love working with us. Architects love working with us, and developers like working with us, because we think through everything in advance and think about what it's going to look like on the bottom line. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. So, coming from an institutional development background, and Christine and I also working with large scale developers, from small to large, we think and speak developer, and our business model is really to become the developer's in-house sales and marketing team. So we're like the in-house team for hire. You don't have to keep us on board. Like LG earlier was, they went through a phase where they did only apartment buildings, so they didn't need a group like us. Well, do you want to employ a bunch of salespeople and a bunch of people like us for 5 years when you don't have any deals? No, but do you want to go hire your local brokerage house that might have a quote unquote development division, but all they really are is a sales team that knows how to sell development? We are the conduit between sales and development and the market to the the market for that developer. And so all of these decisions lead to a better product. And people are always like, what's the marketing strategy that sells the right product? It's not the marketing strategy, it's the pre-development decisions and the pre-development strategy. To answer one of the questions I saw earlier, somebody said, is this available on a smaller scale? This package can go from 50,000 for, I think, the cheapest we've ever done, probably more than that at this point, to like 200,000. I'm sure there are technologies out there, and Dorian, you can answer this, that would, for a luxury single family home, to do virtual walkthroughs and things like that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's scalable depending on the size of the development and need for the project.
I would love to show a couple more tricks after you're done showing this amazing amenity space. This is the 8th floor amenity space. If anyone is interested, it has 3 different workout facilities, where one of which is the equipment room that you're seeing in here, yoga room, and then a HIIT room.
I still don't know what a HIIT room is, but
High impact interval training or high intensity interval.
Gotcha.
Honestly, my favorite part of this entire thing is the golf simulator that also does zombie dodgeball, and which I'm try. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, but zombie dodgeball is a thing now, apparently. But yeah, the outdoor space is really well done. But you know, you can see, like, this is being shown right now. There you go. Change the time of day, but
yep.
Dorian can actually bring us outside of the space. One of the things that from the exterior that you can show that I find completely fascinating. If you want to jump out and show the building itself, I love the fact that you can change the time of day.
Oh yeah, sure. Let me do that right now.
So one of the other things while he's doing that is that you've all seen renderings for beautiful developments before, where they omit surrounding buildings or surrounding, you know, things that aren't so you know, beautiful to the eye. What you're seeing here is reality, and we like to, that's how we sell things, is in reality, to show people, you know, to be able to sell around things that they may see as an obstacle, but to not to hide that. So you look across the river and there's a substation for you know, electrical substation. But if you see, stop right there. If you see this building right kind of in the across the way here, that's Chicago's old post office, which is a famous building. It was just fully renovated to become creative office. So that's where Uber is going to have a headquarters, and a bunch of companies that are now downsizing because of COVID, but that's going to be like the hottest office space in Chicago that is, you know, 2 blocks away or a block away. So you're really seeing reality of what it is. And I think that helps people also feel good about their decision and make better decisions.
Yeah, and what Christine was saying earlier, we typically include full time of day and time of year abilities, so that if a buyer wants to know, hey, when exactly is my unit going to get sun, the sales team can show them that info precisely. And
you're like, it's Chicago, you'll get 3 days a year of sun, and it'll be negative 22 all February.
Yeah, true. So I know that we were, you know, like, I'm looking at our timing, and I know that we had anticipated being able to take about, you know, 15 minutes of Q&A. Do you guys feel like we kind of hit all the highlights? I feel like we got most of them.
Yeah, no, I think that was great. It was a great starting point. So the first thing, I'll start off with some of the questions. You know, I'm never shy. You said you opened the doors 2 weeks ago. How did you technically open the doors? And then what has been the reaction so far?
So we got our office 2 days before Christmas, which is perfectly timed, as you can imagine. And so in January, we were finishing off our office space. We put our sales team in place, and they've been at the office, and we have been making private appointments with a lot of brokerage community, you know, contacts in order to bring them through the project. We put up our sales center signage that is surrounding the site. We had our website up and operational, and we were gathering interest at that time. Once we felt like the office was show ready, we started to bring those brokers through the office. We started to make appointments just in the last 2 weeks with interested parties. And we've had some pretty amazing response so far. We have 3 contracts and 4 to 5 more that are right behind it within 2 weeks, which is pretty good considering.
Oh my God, that's great. Are you kidding?
Yeah, you know, I mean, we've got, it's, what do you say? It's an elephant, and you take it one bite at a time when you're trying to eat one. So we are taking it one bite at a time. And we're anxious to get more of the brokerage community. And we, now that COVID has, you know, we're right in the middle of a residential building. It's the first rental building that was actually done on what is going to be a 4-tower development of 7 acres. So this is an occupied residential building, and we have to be respectful of the fact that we're bringing people from the outside into a residential building. So we've been careful to limit our crowds, but we had the very first, I'm going to say party. We had a group of 10 in for cocktails, socially distanced, and it was like, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
I bet.
Yeah, and so, but the answer is brokers and internet inquiries. Our outreach has been mostly digital at this time. And part of what we've invested heavily in is a lot of digital technology. One more thing I'm going to mention to Dorian in particular, because I just told him this. We did our very first video presentation to a family. Part of our target market is going to be people who are either going to law school at John Marshall Law School, UIC, and a lot of med students. We have a student that is coming in from Canada, and they're not going to come here until after they've gotten vaccinated. So we did a 2-hour presentation. We'll probably sell our first home virtual. They'll probably not even step foot in the country before they're going to buy. And it's all because we have the right tools in place in order to communicate the value proposition.
Sure.
So,
And so what are the price points again, Christy?
starting at 380,000, going up to just under 2 million.
Okay, and the rentals?
Don't know yet. That hasn't been fully programmed. We don't usually launch a rental building until about 4 months prior to occupancy. So, but they'll be smaller.
And so when do you think you'll actually start construction and complete construction?
David?
The plan is to start construction May or June of this year. One of the other benefits from a financeability standpoint of a hybrid is that your pre-sale requirement is much less because the basis of the building is based on the rental component of it. So the developer, the banks are requiring less. And typical deals that we work on, that's all condo, you need a pre-sale requirement of about 35% to about 50% of the total unit count or sales volume, depending on what the bank makes you do, before you can break ground. In this particular building, they're thinking we can probably get away with like 10%. So that's not a lot of units. And so the plan is really, and being that our developer is a GC, they're very slow to go, to get to go, but when they go, they don't mess around. And so we think, we'll probably be right on target and break ground. And delivery is, what is it, 28? So like late 2023.
Wow. Okay. Wow. And then as far as, I know a lot of people have questions about the technology, so I'm just going to ask a couple more questions. I know we already asked a bunch of questions earlier, and a reminder, everybody, that the conversation should continue in the discussions under each session in Whova, because I'm sure you're going to have a lot of questions. But Christine, we talked about the fact that there's builders, architects, developers, interior designers, landscape architects, and consumers and realtors in this conference. And they're going to all want to know how to connect with you, how to get to know you. Obviously, a lot of the selections for this project, I don't know how firm and done they are, but tell us how you feel about that kind of collaboration.
So the building has obviously, in order to get Dorian all the information that he needed in order to build up the VR, the designers, the general contractor is the developer. The designers are already done. The cabinetry, countertops, everything has basically been bid out. They are not messing around. Once they're full go, they're full go. But it's Lend-Lease's call as far as who they're using. And they've gotten pricing for basically, I think they've priced out the entire building. The way we collaborate with people though, is that generally, this is how it usually works. architects will bring us in because they don't want to redesign a building twice. They don't want to design a building twice. They bring us in advance so that they know what the product mix is and they know what it is that they're supposed to do. Usually what happens is developers come in and say, I have this piece of land, give me some massing stuff and let's design something. And then they bring in the sales and marketing team after the fact. And then we tell them to redesign everything. So a lot of times architects bring us in advance to make sure that they're designing it once. Designers like working with us because they don't have to redesign twice, because we're already telling them who the target market is and what the price point should be, so that they're not over speccing something so that they have to redesign it in order to VE stuff. We usually hit it pretty close the first time around. So the answer is, for this particular project, pretty much committed. But for future projects, we're always looking to collaborate with people.
And a lot of times, yeah, real estate agents, residential real estate agents will have a relationship, or they'll have a client that's growing into larger deals, and the real estate agent says, I want to take it, intuitively the real estate agent says, I want to have all these sales myself. And then when you realize all the stuff that we do, they're like, whoa, I'm over my skis, because I do general brokerage and my schedule isn't even built to work on a project like this. And then we come in and usually we'll collaborate, give a referral fee, something like that, where we can help take it over so they're not wasting that opportunity, but they have an outlet. As far as other types of groups, obviously we always are the group that we're like the general contractor of sales and marketing and somewhat design. So a lot of times on smaller to mid-sized deals, we'll need to give referrals for designers or small to mid-sized contractors, things like that. So that's where we could definitely collaborate.
Okay, terrific. And then Dorian, there was a question. Could
Sure.
Work with you on a smaller scale?
Yeah, we do projects of all sizes. Right now, we're just wrapping up what was it? Just not even 12 unit project on Longboat Key. But yeah, even the dollar amount starts to make sense on larger single family homes and of course for sale condo.
Sure. And
I'll throw a link to our website in the chat here. I see a couple people asking. I'll do that.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Sure.
And for you, Christine and David, we talked about, again, it just depends on the volume and the size. And David, you did a good job of explaining kind of your sweet spot. But if anybody has anything that's even remotely a consideration, they should talk to you anyway, just to flush it out, make sure it is or isn't.
Flush it out. I mean, typically for on the condo side, the sellout needs to be at least $50 million for our business model to work with, like a dedicated sales team, that sort of thing. But on some of our advisory stuff, we're paid fees a lot of times to help developers figure things out, and then we're kind of out of the room. And most times, if we're out of our core markets, it's usually a larger deal. It's usually a $100 million deal. But we have, it depends on a lot of things. Size of the deal, pace of the deal. Does it need pre-sales? So like our deal in Sarasota is a 40 million and change, but Sarasota has a, commission rates that make sense. It has a pace that makes sense. It has a pre-sale requirement that made sense. So we decided to take that deal. So like the deal you just looked at is like a, $200 million sellout. We're working on one right now that's a $350 million sellout. So it really just kind of varies.
Understood. Will you do any print materials?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes.
We do old school, beautiful brochures and all of that.
You will, huh? Wow. So you find there's still really? Okay, I'm going to go there. Anyone else have any other questions in the chat? I'm happy to share the floor here with anyone. Let's see. So it said, is the technology available on a smaller scale? I asked that question. Let's see. I think that's it. And you cooperate with realtors. You explain that, Christine. I'm sure do you expect that a certain percentage will be through just the cooperative brokerage?
We're hoping that we achieve an 80% co-op. We are very, very broker friendly. In fact, we have designed a commission schedule that once we have full earnest money, that's hard earnest money, we pay 50% of a broker's commission upfront, which is pretty rare.
Wow.
We try to convince all of our developers to do that, to build that into their budgets. And that's one of the things, the advisory part up front is they have to figure that out in their pro forma and in how they capitalize the deal to make sure they have that cash. And
Right.
and so, we try to work on that because that impacts a lot of things.
No, that's excellent. So one of our members asked, is there going to be any art in the public places? Because she's an artist and an interior designer, an architect as well. So is there any art in the public spaces?
I can take that one, Christine.
Yes.
But this project actually, Southbank is the project that the read is within. So you can look at southbank.com. I think it's southbankchicago.com, and then the readchicago.com or the readsouthbank.com. I can't remember them all, but there's a relationship with an art group and and so that's kind of already spoken for as well for this project.
They actually decided that they were going to go to a local source, but also minority local sourcing, and so that's very important to them.
Right. Great. Well, this was really wonderful. Do you expect that this is kind of the prototype for all future developments, this virtual reality aspect?
I can't imagine not having it. I've had less of it, but the more the better every single time. The more we can show, the more that we can eliminate objections and uncertainty, the better. So every time that we can do this in a project, we'll do this, and then I'm sure Dorian will come up with something else fabulous that we're going to need.
Okay, great. What about sustainability building and sustainability considerations for the residents and, the technical things that we've been talking about throughout the conference?
Okay, there's something really cool about this developer. They partnered with a woman-owned business that, Dorian, can you share just for a second and go to the roof?
Oh, yeah, sure. Absolutely.
So cool.
The goal here is what, Christine, LEED Gold, right?
It'll be a LEED Gold building.
Yeah.
And I don't even know exactly what the points are that they get for this particular thing, but this is super cool. So Dorian's going to go to the roof of the building. They partnered with a woman-owned business, and they're doing this on their rental building, the Cooper, that's just to the right of the building. But you're going to see there's actually an urban farm. This is not available for residents to get up to, but they contract out with a woman-owned business that actually farms the rooftops. It's an urban garden, and they actually provide the vegetables and all everything that they grow to local restaurants and to local farmers markets, which is so cool.
That is.
And I'm pretty
cool.
sure, if I remember correctly too, I'm pretty sure they're doing bees as well up there.
I don't like to think about that so much, but yes.
But that's so cool.
Yeah. So Kim Nigro, the architect, just said the crop, is it the roof crop, Molly, the roof crop?
I don't know the name of it. I'm supposed to get some additional materials on them, but yes, I would imagine so. But yes, there's going to be bees. I'm just afraid of bees.
I love bees.
That's great. Just wonderful. Well, very, very cutting edge, a great way to do a closing technology. Oh, wait, she said the garden is by Molly Meyer. Oh, Dan Bagelman, another architect. The garden is by Molly Meyer, Omni Ecosystems.
That very well may be the case. I can't verify it only because I haven't seen their marketing material yet.
Okay, fantastic. Bees are great and essential. Well, that's what we talked about when Robin Wilson talked about the bees, and they're pollinating. I know you're
Yeah.
get your EpiPen. So, you know, for the conference per se, this was perfect because we really wanted to, you know, not just focus on the single family residential. We had, you know, Karen Harrell talk about hospitality. One of our earlier speakers, only Daryl Long, only does hospitality design. And now you guys presenting the multifamily. It's wonderful to bring this full circle. So I thank you for your time and for sharing this with us. And thank you for being both expert panelists as realtors and marketers and strategy people. And then I hope you guys stay on. We're going to be talking with our next speaker, which is going to be Jason Lenhart, and he's going to be sharing home technology and business technology trends. And then finally, Brody is going to give us an update on a video, which I know, Dorian, you know, you're right there. And then we're going to do a final toast and open mic at 5:30, have some champagne. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. Continue the conversation in Huva.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you very soon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.